pops in. Just a little late night chat for quips and giggles. Never know, might get a few people in. Gotta like the fact I can't even put background music in here because YouTube will have kittens over it. Even if it was my music, apparently. So, unfortunately, until your people come in or you get somebody who pops into the hangout with you, that's kind of where you're stuck. And I can't put my tank up for everybody to see. I wonder if I've got some footage, maybe. Let's see here. That could be a good idea. I definitely have footage somewhere. Where did I put it? Not very big. Nope, definitely not there. Hola to whoever has popped in. Just trying to put something up in the background here. My tanks are asleep, so I can't put those up. But I know I have footage somewhere. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, well. Kind of see it in the background, but you get that infinite loop. That's kind of sucky. Oh, there we go. I guess it's showing. Good enough. Horrible, though. Definitely not worth showing, I don't think. Oh, well. Stop trying to do that. There we go. Well, sort of works. Oh, well. Oh, well, not really doing what I want, so that's all right. Might get someone in here. Had a few people take a peek, probably for whatever reason. Once again, just popping up the view time, seeing how it get it to work. Let's see if we get anyone in. Might. It's getting kind of late though. Might even see Briefing Community Worldwide pop on. It's getting about give or take 8 in the morning there. Hey, what's going on, Aquariums Down Under? It's about midday down there, ain't it? You know, it's definitely a funny thing when it comes down to live streaming and the chat being 30 seconds behind um, for what you're actually doing in the Hangout, because it's a little disconcerting because you'll ask a question and you got to wait almost a minute when you think about it before you see a response. So you get used to it, but it's still a little odd. You know? Now I had a pretty good stream there today. If I mean, don't go watch 3 hours of video for no reason, but actually my tanks are up in the stream. I actually figured out a way to stream my tank while I'm actually in the Hangout, which was I just used a second account that I had that I just have as a backup to my main email. And it was kind of funny that I was able to just, here, I'll log that in, log it in, and there we go. Can't beat that. Yeah. Really weird to call and invite myself. That was even kind of funny. How's life treating you today? Oh, I think we're down to John here. How's reefing? How's the tanks? Hey, what's up, Jeff? I thought you were going to bed. Shouldn't you be in bed? Or are you just pulling a Dave and coming in to thumbs up me? Which, don't get me wrong, I appreciate. Try not to get the thumb in too far, though. Aha. Oh, interesting fun fact. As I recall, you work for FedEx, right, Jeff? Yeah, Melanie Simpson, who comes into the Rico's and my chat and other people's stuff. She works for FedEx, has for 21 years. She was talking about it today. She's in Northern California. I think she's just a courier. I think that's what she said. Yeah. I was just explaining to ADU Aquariums down under there. I actually figured out a way to stream my tank finally, so without too much effort. I do it now, but you know the tanks are dark, so why? What are you going to see? Nice. Yeah. I tried to screen share, but this computer's video card's a little lacking. So if I try to stream my own kind of video footage from my computer while I got Hangouts up, it just all lags out. I'll have that all resolved in the next month or two. When I get my rig back, instead of sitting in a hawk shop while I wait to balance the books. Thank God I had stuff to do that with. Boy, waiting on unemployment was a royal pain in the old ball sack. I thought I'd throw my Hangout up too because I know the boys over in I think Rico stream. Nobody's got the link anymore for anybody to hop in unless they had it on their phone. Oh, that's right too. Our just jumped ahead. Yeah, you're right. I just looked down a minute ago and I think it said it was 3 o'clock in the morning. Now it's 4. Oh, what craziness. Stupid farmers. Well, I've always wondered, and maybe you can back me on. I'm a nighthawk. I like being up at night. And that's not always the most conductive time, but I mean, I got a lot done. I actually got my digital pH probe calibrated and did things I've been putting off in the daytime, and was really thrilled to find my tanks hovering at 7.9 for their pH at night, which means that my sumps are working. Although my 20-gallon is not sumped right now because everything's disconnected because of waiting on that pump. Oh, nothing wrong with Happy Gilmore. Get in your home. Go to your home. You want to be in your home. You like your home. And hockey players are not all like that, by the way. Just so you know. But to go back about my thing about being a nighthawk, I love how people shame us for it. And it's like, why? Yeah. Well, that's the other problem. It is a bit of a lazy way to be. Kind of hard to vacuum at night, unless you own a house. And even then, if you have a bunch of people in your house, like, my mother was a nighthawk, so waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and hearing vacuuming was not that uncommon an event in my household. Are you a big hockey fan? Yeah, I grew up loving hockey. I actually got signed to the Oshawa Generals when I was 15 and had my back, I guess you would call it fractured now because the way, I don't know how they classify all that, but there were cracks in 3 of my vertebrae, like splinters, and ruined my career. And I beat the crap out of the guy who hip checked me legally. He did hit me legally. Doesn't stop me from beating the crap out of him for ruining my life, though. Yeah. You can pop in the hangout if you want. I don't care. Either way. A little less of a backlog. Depends on what you want to do. I am not a forceful person. I know I'm not going to see like Tom, my saltwater journey. Right now it's, although it might, it's 9 o'clock in the morning where he is. So yeah, and I know saltwater Jeff. I've often wondered if that was going to happen to me, and I got lucky and it didn't. He just had 3 vertebrae fused in his back, and he's suffering out hard. I really feel for him. Showed off his tank though, man. Gorgeous, 175-gallon Red Sea Reefer set up peninsula style. Nice tank. No, it's not a problem, man. I know the feeling. My wife wakes up if I leave the bed. Like every time. And then I get dirty looks as she goes to the bathroom past my office, right? So it's always, and again, she understands once in a while I just can't sleep. So now we'll get someone else in here. You never know. I'm just bumping my viewing hours. So even if I have 1 or 2 people that are sitting there watching it, I'm all thrilled with that because it just bumps those hours, right? I think the big vid for me, Jeff, is probably going to be when I clear out that algae out of that 20. When people see from what it looks like today within X amount of time, that's gone, and how I did it. And then with, because I always put the caveat, just because I did it doesn't mean it's going to work for you, right? You got to kind of roll with your tank. No, not to quote Mr. Saltwater Tank, but your tank's personality does come into play. What your tank is doing is not necessarily what you think it is, right? You got to be mindful of what your tank is doing. Yeah, it was funny, man. I was talking to somebody today, and they were talking about someone else on YouTube, and I'm like, yeah, saw you in there, and made comments to the effect they thought I was underutilized and all this. And that's, well, you know what? When you get into what experience level you would call my level, which is I'm still, as far as I'm concerned, a beginner. 4 years doesn't make you a pro, but I've been through so much crap in 4 years versus some people. I'm surprised I didn't go insane. 9 months dealing with ick. Yeah, exactly. Water changes. Even they're not as simple as people think it is. You know, yes, you're just making water, but if you have a bad batch of salt, if your pH is different today, you know, there's little things like those things aren't as important, especially if you're only doing minor water, you know, you're 10%. But man, you can drastically screw up your tank, change your salt. You know, the people that switched Rotter Tube there did a switch from IO Instant Ocean to Red Sea Pro, and it totally led to a big algae explosion in that fella's tank. Huge. You know, his was like, oh, you know, and I told him, I said, you can dose peroxide. I said, but you need to get in there and start manually pulling that out. You know, I was talking about that today that I might just take my rock work out when I get my return pump. Okay, Monday I got to help move a relative from Halifax back up to Fredericton. 5 hours of driving down, 4 hours of packing, and 5 hours of driving back, and then unpacking. There's a thrilling effing day. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going through a weird health period. I guess I'm not feeling all that shit hot. Uh, welcome to diabetes. Are you? That's right. I remember you mentioned this. Did you watch Maled's Reef just did a live stream about moving? I don't know if you saw that. Yeah. I wish I had done mine. I had to move 4 tanks and ran into a hell of a time while I was doing it, but I got it done. And one tank ended up with an issue. I think I mentioned that it sat outside -36 weather for like an hour and a half with the door open on the truck and everything. I was ticked off. It's the only tank I had a problem with. And, you know, didn't lose any fish, but it definitely lost all the snails that were in the sand bed and everything. They were alive when I started the tank back up, but unfortunately, whatever swing that die off and the bacteria and everything that happened in that tank, I was just so angry about that. So that's a bummer. I'm gonna have to make a light vid to actually show stuff in the background when I'm doing the late nights. So I'm not turning the lights on in my tank. Are you insane? My fish are all on a regular run. I got wrasses that don't like it. I'll figure something out. Ended up. I wonder if there's any. I wonder if that'll work. A few minutes of that. We'll leave that up. Back to present to everyone. See if that comes up for everybody. There we go. Well, it's something to look at. Now it's going to go black. Son of a bitch. You do it, man. Get some sleep. No. Didn't expect to get a lot of people. That's all right. Well, it leads to a lot of dead air online, though. That's, you know, nobody wants that. You never know. Hola to those coming in. Just a place to hang out late night if you're a night owl like me. You never really know what the heck's going to come up in these chats, so just keep it clean. Yeah. Oh, what do we got going on here? Oh, yeah. That's too bad I can't stream that. I'll have to find a way to maybe make that smaller so I can stream that on the late nights. Oh well. Oh, my computer's lagging out hard here. There we go. Well, hopefully we get a few more people in here. I'll be right back. I'm just going to grab something here. All right. Well, still one person. Me. That's all right. As I said, I'm not really out to do much more than put up time on here, so. Hola, is anyone coming in? And we're just going to have a hangout, I guess, at some point here, hopefully, get a few more people in. And it's just me again. That's the way that's going to go, right? Oh, I really got to find something I can stream on here. Tell you. Hey to whoever popped in. Glad to see whoever it is. If you feel like chatting, if you're just checking out to see if anything's going on. Unfortunately, it's late night, so not a lot goes on, but get a few more people in here. I'm sure we can get a discussion going. Well, I can get a discussion going with one person if I want. Oh, is it? There we go. Can't sleep, huh? That's all right, Jeff. I don't care. You know, It's I'm in the same boat. I actually ended up spiking up my sugars there at some point, and just had an awful day, and ended up taking a nap. Shouldn't have had a nap. Try to stay focused. I mean, I want to hop off, and I might, but not right now. We'll do it in a bit. I'm sure. Thing is, we'll probably have a lot more of the same. We'll just have people passing through. Oh, wait a minute, just thought I'd drop in. Like, well, that's great. I think your phone died again, buddy. Yeah. Yeah, and you work all week, so yeah, next weekend. So big move. Like, are you moving a long distance, or is it just across town? Or that's not too bad. Not too bad. They're letting you do a bigger tank. I never really got to talk to you about that. Um, you got lots of people to help you out with the tanks. Are you doing it by yourself? Hear me drinking pop and stuff. Yay! And you're gonna hear me rolling smokes. I try not to smoke a lot at night, but man, I just don't want to be. Like I said, I just cleaned up packed up my grandmother's place. 23 years, I don't think the walls were washed once. And that, I don't expect my grandmother to wash the walls, but you only have a nano. Oh, well, that's going to be a nice, easy move. At least you don't have to stress over, 200 gallons of water and all that other crazy crap. I was actually telling the wife if we decided to move, um, I'd need a lead in of about a week so I could have the water ready at the other end, heated, ready to go. And she's like, "What do you think it would cost?" And I'm like, if I were to do it right, and buy the equipment ahead of time, it wouldn't cost anything. But you'd want at least probably three brute cans, 55-gallon ones full, ready to go. And then the water that I would have for moving the fish and moving the rock would be the supplement to go into the sump. And the problem is you're talking about 4 hours. So I'd have to have three not generators, but those battery packs, jumper packs that you can use as a battery pack to run the heaters, and a couple of air stones, and I could do it. I could do 4 hours. I figured out. I say that, and then it all goes wrong. You know. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good idea, man. A nano is so much easier to deal with. You know, if it's only a few fish and 10, 20 pounds of rock. You gonna go to a bigger tank in the new home? Get something bigger? Or are you one of those unfortunate guys that has a wife that just does not understand this hobby? Never understood that, you know. But then again, when I was a musician, my ex-wife did not understand that passion whatsoever. I think she was jealous of it because, like, why don't you treat me like that? Maybe could be. Yeah. Yeah, I made Melanie all jealous today. She wants to go up to I think she wants to do I think it's a Red Sea 250, whatever it is, the big one. And my 120 that you see in the vids, the big tank with the stand, the sump, and the skimmer. And the skimmer was only 6 months old. Uh, it was $800. I got it for altogether. It would be, yeah. So should have thrown the tank in on the mortgage, man. 10 grand. What's the difference on 20 years? Who cares? I'm just saying. Yeah. No, it's a big thing. I want to get a house. I want to build my tank up to the wall and plumb it through the wall and, make it a lot easier to deal with. But, we can't all have that. But I'm still feeling for Travis there, Fish of Hex. I think he said his toilet overflowed um, and no one noticed and it leaked down into his frag system. And you can just imagine on a frag, so that would have been just so bad. Yeah. All that chlorine, just oof. No. And if he's on a well, just all the minerals and metals and the copper. Oh, no, don't even want to deal with it. No. No, I've been live streaming a lot too, for my own sake because this is my sandbox. So I don't have to worry about someone else getting upset about what I'm doing, uh, or feel like I'm infringing in some way. So that's why I've been doing this. Nothing personal, just. You know. Well, I guess it is personal. It's. I understand it. You know what I mean? Nobody wants somebody else coming in using their sandbox as a litter box, right? No. Yeah, so that's got to be exciting, eh? Nice move, new house. I moved a lot. I was a military kid, so I get used to like every 3 years, new city, new house, new everything. So it's been very hard to settle down. I've been here now 7 years, and prior to that, I did 10 years. So right up until that point, it was like every 2 to 3 years I was moving. So well, there you go. I just noticed the JBJ thing that you got a 30-gallon JBJ. That's a nice little tank. Doesn't let you get the big fishies though. That's the only problem. Even if you got small versions of them, unless you knew you were going within 6 months, oof, that's a risky proposition, eh? Yeah, see what I mean about the moving thing? That's crazy. I don't know why we all have to move so much, but I guess it's getting to that equilibrium in life. Funds to age to where you want to be is a really crazy thing to get to. Yeah. Might get a few more stragglers in here tonight. I think we might. We might, Rabbit. You might. Yeah. Don't bother my bandwidth any, I guess, is the thing. I wonder if some people are concerned about that, but still 12. There we go. I do, to a degree. Some of the nanofish are active, but some of them aren't very active. You get your gobies and that. And like mine's pretty forward. I was showing him off, or her, my yellow watchman and the pistol shrimp. A lot of people really like my pistol's huge. He's almost 3.5 inches long, just his body. That's without the claw. Speaking of which, I haven't heard him tonight, so he's obviously not getting mad at anybody. Yeah. Yeah, there's a few, especially 120 is a good size because there's a few that you can get. There's still some you can't. You know, I got offered an Emperor Angel, and I'm like, no, I can't do an Emperor Angel, man. That Emperor Angels get, you know, almost 2 feet long and can weigh up to 20 pounds. That's okay. I like my, I got an Orchid Dotty back. He's a little thug. That's the other problem I have with Dotty backs. They tend to get far too territorial. They got to be like the last fish you put in. And I had a, they call him a diadem, but the skunk back, skunk Dotty back. So it's the one that's kind of yellow. It's yellow on the head, purple on the back, but it's more on its back, the purple. And she went in my tank as the last fish and still beat the crap out of my Coral Beauty and my Cardinals. Yeah, the F word given 0, right? But they're beautiful fish. There's so many of them that are just awesome looking. Yeah, and that's just it. Some of them are great. It really is personality of fish. You can't tell just by looking at them. But I always tell people at the reef store, if they seem very frenetic, you know, very, very, not agited's the word, but just, you can just tell by the way they're swimming that chances are they're really, really not feeling comfortable. And that kind of feels like you may not want to get that one because when you put it in your tank, situationally, it could be very calm there and they will establish themselves very quickly. But the ones that are chill and just swim with everyone else and they're not looking for a place, they're not swimming and darting around really bad, then it's a maybe. And that's just anecdotal. That's just me kind of observing what I've seen. I am in no way the fish whisperer. Yeah, they do that. Yeah, dotty backs are extremely, they like that for food. Hmm. Yeah, that sounds about right. Everyone was admiring my fox face there. I'm so happy to remove that powder brown from the tank for him because he's just he's a chiller, but he's a pig. You look at him in the video, he's massive fish, big guy, and he's not. I don't know if he's my favorite or not. I don't think he's my favorite, but well, yeah, I guess he kind of is. He's just so do 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 do, and you know, he's mellow. He doesn't really go. He chases the filamentous wrasse around, but it's more almost like play. You know, he never really nips. I'm not. Things have been said, and I've just let it go. You know, welcome to the internet. Yeah. But I think my favorite comment somebody made was, "I'm in love with the sound of my own voice." And I'm like, well, yeah, you can't be a personality in the music business and not have some narcissism to you. Just kind of what I just said. Yeah. And it was no one in. I'm not I'm not a name names kind of person. Like I said, it was more, you know, there's a vibe in certain channels, and you just kind of get it like you're in their sandbox. I just don't agree with that attitude. If you catch my drift. I'm definitely not out to start a war with anyone. We'll leave that to the Logan Pauls of the world and whatever. You know, it's one thing to say you want everyone to feel welcome. It's another thing to feel welcome. There you go. Yeah. You know, I'll let anyone into my hangout, and you know, until you prove otherwise, I think it's cool that yeah, show up. Sure, I'll let you in every time I see you if I got room. You know, you can only do 10 people, and you know, one thing I will say, 9 times out of 10, I do see it. People are willing to drop out. Yeah, come on in. It's another to get invited in. So when I started my streaming, it had nothing to do with that. I just wanted to stream my tanks real time. Uh, you know, unfortunately, my 20 looks like hell, so that's going to turn into a whole nice video series for me by accident. Uh, it was, and I think I explained it. You may not have heard it, but my 20, the reason there's so much hair algae on the rocks, my wife did the rockscape. I forgot to put it back in the water, so the bacteria culture on the rock would stay alive, the film. So it died. So when I put it in the tank, I did everything right to jumpstart the tank, but the problem was that there was still a mini die off in the rock, and it led to the algae getting a little bit of a foothold. So I got to get rid of that. So no, it's definitely. I do go into Reefing Community Worldwide's chat a lot. Paul and the guys overseas there. Yeah, you know what's fun about that algae outbreak is watching the people just amazed that I'm not freaking out about it. And it's like, well, that's the thing. You don't, right? Don't. Unless it's killing your coral. That's why I freaked out about what I assumed was red turf and turned out to be just really aggressive coralline algae. Um, you know, you got to kind of, I know, take a laid back approach to it. You know, don't freak out. Be patient. You know, we all scream about it, and it's true. Patience in this hobby is freaking everything. Because I've been there. I've been, oh my God. And, you know, hands are in the tank and you're dumping chemicals in and you're flipping the hell out. And it's like, what are you doing? Do you really understand what's happening in there? Do you really? No. So you got to kind of, you know, everything's tiptoe in, see if that's making a difference, and then proceed. If it's not, you know, and you've given it the appropriate amount of time, move on to the next thing, you know, that might help that, right? Like Nopox, people just abuse the shit out of Nopox and don't realize that if you go to the website and download the material data sheet on that, it's methanol and ethanol. It's alcohol. It's gas. If you want to get really technical, right? Oh, my nose is going here just a sec. Anyway, I knew my allergies were going to go off. The wonderful part about having cats and being allergic to dust at the same time. No, 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 no. Now I've got a few guys that come in here fairly regular. Bubba Shinobi, you, my saltwater journey, saltwater Jeff, guys like that. And you know, I don't think it's a feeling against any other stream or anyone else. We go into everyone else's streams. I'll always check anyone's stream out and thumbs up it. Um, but I think it's once you pass about 20 people in chat, there's the chat's now essentially worthless for the most part, unless you have somebody monitoring it all the time. I try to, but it's hard. I like Bubba. Yeah. Get along with him and my saltwater journey, Tom, there over in Sweden. It's really cool to get that European perspective. And he lives in a climate very similar to mine, so there's a lot of cross with that as well. Yeah. Yeah, and Dave pops in from time to time when he's up and awake. Plus, with some of the streams, I'm going to try and get a couple of guys involved, but the guys that are in my area, there's probably only 3 or 4 that I would say I would mind being in here with me because they wouldn't be too opinionated. I got a fella, and I won't name names because if he's watching it, I don't want him to feel insulted. But he's a little too forward with his opinion. And he's got the experience. He's been doing it for a long time. But his tack is really off. You can rub people the wrong way really quick. Yeah. It'd be like me inviting a couple of fish store guys that I do know that I just wouldn't, because it would be, this is it. This is the only way, and I'm not a believer in that. There's many ways to skin the saltwater hobby. Yeah, it's and that's all it is. You know what, Jeff? That's really all it is. It's not my stream, so it's not, using the sandbox reference. I thought it was a good reference. It's not my playground. Is even better, I think. I'm not running it, so if that so and so that person wants it a certain way, then that's the way it's got to be. If you want to be there, uh, it's like bands. When I was in a band, everybody wants to get up and jam with you. You know what I mean? Everybody does. And it's like, I'm the one getting paid. I don't think the owner is going to really appreciate I'm not doing the work, And if your playing isn't up to snuff and it comes off really half-assed, then I'm going to get in trouble, so to speak, right? So that's a different version of the same thing, right? It's like, okay, that's the way you want it. That's the way it'll be. I'll go start my own playground and, do it my way. We all have commonalities. I don't want trolls in here. I don't want guys. When Lisa comes in here, she actually gets on quite a bit, actually. She was on today, and I was very happy to see she's doing good and really hoping that, yeah. Honestly, I feel the same way about that. I have seen a few butthurt people, and whether they're right or wrong is again, it comes down to what we were just kind of talking about. It's not your playground, man. You don't want it. You don't like that. Go start your own stream. I don't get a hurt that it's me and you in here. I would love 4 or 5 more people. That'd be great. If I get it, fantastic. I'd love to see Aaron, Mike, and the boys pop in here once in a while. That would just thrill me. Even if it isn't regular, it would still thrill me. But at the same token, I've disagreed with Mike's tactics. I've watched his videos and went, what? And it's not because it's wrong. It's just that all the literature, all of it, with something like ick, totally disagrees with you. Totally. So for you to say that works, it doesn't. It just, you got lucky. If you have a large volume of water, ick is not as serious as it is in a 20-gallon tank. Ick in a 20-gallon tank, if you left your fish in there, you are a fool. You know what I mean? They're going to die. Because when that big outbreak happens, there's nowhere for the fish to go. There's no escaping them. There's no overflow that's going to take the ick down to your sump to die. And you got to remember that sump also pumps that water back in, and we're talking about a microscopic organism, nano organism, if you want to get really technical. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's my and people have to learn to comfortably disagree, and not get butthurt feelings, and start wanting to name call or call someone an idiot or do whatever, right? And that's where I feel in some of the streams things get a little. Yeah. And there's also some greed involved. So. Like, do I want this channel to go monetized? I was shooting for it, but when they changed the rules, now realistically, it's like, you know, it's probably far from it. But you know what? I have fun doing it. If I meet some cool people and I get to talk fish and not drive my wife crazy with my hopes and aspirations for equipment, then all the better for it, right? Yeah, yeah, I've noticed I've been saying that too. Or, or honestly, that's what worked for me. And you have to kind of take it like that, because the simple fact of the matter is I don't want you or anyone else to ever feel like you tried my using peroxide and you destroyed your tank. You're going to blame me, honestly, because you're going to be like, well, I used his advice and it wrecked my tank. And it's like, I wasn't there to help you do that. So, you know what I mean? But I can show you what I did. And if you want to try it, you go right ahead. Yeah. And if anyone else is in here, feel free to chime in or start another topic. Says I got 3 viewers now. That'd be fantastic if I do. That'd be a good late night. No, you're absolutely correct, Jeff. That's absolutely correct. Um, People don't get it. I always joke, and if you listen to a couple of the streams, I always say, all right, we got 5 people in here. Let's get to quibbling. And I say that friendly disagreements are one thing. Hypocritical viewpoints are another, right? I have heard people say, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But look, or check out this. And it's like, that's not proof. That's your tank. It worked for you. Don't say that you believe that everyone's going to do something different, and then go on to say, but look, you know what I mean? No, that's just being a hypocrite. If you want to say that that's what you feel like, then stand by it. I can respect that more. If you start hearing me snort, my allergies are going off. They'll relax. They always do. My wife's got worse allergies than I do, and she wants another cat, for damn sake. But I'll be honest with you, I feel that too. There's a couple of streams I've been in where I've just sort of noticed that vibe is there, that very low key dissension, I guess, for lack of a better word. And I'm not even really sure where it's coming from. It's more, it's the playground thing. It's not your playground, man. You're not going to take over that person's channel. So what do you hope to accomplish? Like we were just saying, start your own channel, start your own streams, and say your own spit. Spout your own piece, and take your abuse that you're going to get. I got people that I haven't really had a negative comment per se. I've had a few off backhanded compliments, and that's all right. You don't agree with what I'm doing, I'm not going to cry about it. I can get a little bent out of shape about stuff, but even then, that's not really all that serious. That's just me, like, maybe coming to grips with that person's opinion. But if you actually look at my tank today, I was, my water quality has just been stellar lately. Like the clarity, shouldn't say quality, the clarity. And it's like just been letting the tank mature up. And somebody asked me, well, what I was doing, and in all honesty, it's pretty simple. I leave my tank alone. I test and do, I do very few water changes on the 120. I might do once a month, 30 gallons. Just because it's easier on the system right at the moment because of whatever it went through. And I clean my sand bed maybe in quarter chunks. And I usually do the whole front on a water change, and the following month I'll try to get all the back and try to dig around the nooks and crannies and such. So, and that's been working. So. And I agree with that too. We should be helping each other and not jumping on each other. Hey, Paul, welcome to the discussion. I do piecework. Yeah, I don't get my I don't do it full time. Although I am severely thinking about with a career change going into broadcasting because I do have a good voice. I know I do. I mean, it's not tooting my own horn. You guys hear it. You can tell me yes or no. The hardest part I have on here is not swearing, to be honest. 30 years in a rock band, man. I know how to curse. Trust me. That's like sailor talk. I might make a little more coffee. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that, Jeff. And Paul, if you got a question or you just want to chat, that's what it's here for tonight. Gonna go quiet because I'm the only guy in the hangout right now. So give me a few minutes. I'm just gonna go throw some coffee on and I'll be right back. Yeehaw! There we go. My wife's got an eye infection again. I've never seen somebody prone to. It's not pink eye, but they'll generalize it as that to her. Oh, Paul's. Oh, nitrates. Ooh, let's get to quibbling. Well, you know what, Paul? Tell us what you've tried. And me and Jeff are. My nitrates are like 10. So unless you're trying to get below 10, I can't help you. Or I can help you. If you're trying to get below that, you're heading into really, 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 really stringent. filtration. So let's see what he's got to say. Oh, here you go, Jeff. You ready? I'll movie voice this. In a world where nitrates are the enemy, he's the cure. Yeah. You know, it's funny. Everyone thinks that your voice is naturally like that. It's like I have heard James Earl Jones in person. Anybody ever knows he doesn't sound like Darth Vader? He sounds like him, but he's not quite. Welcome to equalization and effects. I can do it. If you have a quality voice, that's what they work with. So, like when you hear my voice in the videos, you ever notice it's a little different? You may or may not have, but it is a little different. Yep. So. All right, I've got bio balls. I just put Chato in the tank. Okay. Secondary question, Paul. How old is your tank? And bio balls. Let's talk about that. Is this marine pure or plastic ones? The wife's just going to bed, so I was just talking to her. That's why you heard me go quiet. Yeah, we all know certain things that got to be asked. This is where the forums drive me nuts. Don't get me wrong. I would ask what your parameters are, but you know what? You're asking specifically what it is, so I'm guessing that we're not dealing with an alkalinity or, phosphates. Phosphates could be up too, but they don't really work in conjunction. Marine pure, the tank is 2 years old. Okay, how many parts per million are your nitrates? What are you dealing with here? And an addendum to that question, is anything stressed out in your tank or is anything looking bad? Oh, yeah, just noticed your comment, Jeff, about having the perfect face. So what we need to do is have you do the lines and then I do them behind them when we put my voice over your face. Oh, you heard my wife yelling at my cat, my female? Yeah, that's Daddy's cat. Just call her a saucy bitch. Okay. When you say off the scale, so on like a Saliford kit is just over 100? Is that what we're talking about? I really hate that 30-second delay, by the way. You did a water change on Wednesday. Okay. So 3 questions. All right. How much of a water change on what size of a tank? So if you have a 100-gallon tank, did you do like 20 gallons or whatever the case may be? The question about the kit, if it's a Saliford kit, is it off the scale, meaning it's over 100? It's an API kit, and it goes up to 160. Okay, API's crap. I will unequivocally, any day of the week, tell you API kits are crap. Go get yourself a Saliford nitrate kit. It's probably still going to be off the scale, but it's going to be a lot more accurate. Okay. I'm guessing he's got a shit ton of nutrients sitting in that sand bed. So there's a trick here to it. It's not a perfect trick, but it works. If you have, what size is your tank, Paul? $55. Okay. So if you're off the charts and you have a 55-gallon tank, and is it sumped or you hang on the back filtration? What are we dealing with on a filtration, or is it a canister? Now you got it. You spelled it exactly right, Jeff. And Jeff, this is what we were talking about with the streams. If he was trying to get this question asked in a bigger stream, it would never get answered. Something in the back. Okay. So we're not dealing with a canister filter that's holding on to everything. But what you're going to want to do here, if you really want to kind of slap those nitrates down into a level that's livable, and livable is below 50, by the way. Don't sit down and chase 0. You can't. Anything below 10 is, in my opinion, is getting into dangerous territory. So what you're going to have to do now is leave the substrate alone, or when you vacuum the substrate, you're going to do a 30% water change, and you're going to do it every 2 days. No kidding. That's the way you're going to knock this back and change the media in your back compartment, all of it. Because right now everything's contaminated. So everything's holding on to whatever you vacuumed and stirred up. So the easiest way to get rid of that is to do a water change, swap out your media immediately, then do 2 days later, do another 30% change, and then 2 days later, do another 30% change. You're never going to get rid of them all that way. You would have to do a 100% water change. And by the way, that can be done. I am not kidding. You can do it, but it's just not worth it. It stresses out everything a lot more. But 30%, you're just taking bad out, so there's nothing bad that can happen from it technically. So that's the easiest way to kind of defeat what's going on. That should bring you back down where you can start dealing with it again. And you might want to take your Marine Pure out and give it a rinse in some fresh salt mix, salt water. Don't rinse it in fresh water. Rinse it in salt water. Give it a really good rinse. Even take a turkey baster and try to blow through it and blow the junk out of it. You're not going to kill it that way, the bacteria, but you'll push out any detritus that's gotten stuck in the Marine Pure balls. And that would be my recommendation. That's not saying it's perfect, but I know BRS TV will, if you go watching their videos on that, will even say that's just about the only thing you could really do when it's that high. I mean, it will come down over time, but nitrates do tend to get toxic over 200 parts per million. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just the easiest way to do it, right? And don't stress it. Don't keep your damn hands out of the tank, right? So do this change and then let everything just settle, right? Just keep an eye on it. Have some reserve water on hand, but it will come down, And hopefully it gives you a nice jump, gives you some meaning to that. You know, like you do your 3 changes there over the course of the week, and maybe it gets down to 60. I have had mine as high as 100. Okay, it's not. I don't cry. I mean, no, I don't want them up that high, but you know, it's nitrates are not as toxic to everything. It's going to make your corals brown. That's the biggest thing that I've noticed. You know what I mean? That I've actually seen. I've got an orange octospawn right now on my 20, and because of the algae outbreak that I'm dealing with and the things that are going on, he's gone green. Go figure, right? I'm like, oh, okay. You know, he's not dying, but in no way, shape, or form is he the color I want him to be. But you know, he's going to be what he wants. He's an animal. You know. Yeah. Yeah. You stay on track. You do it that way. I would say you'll probably be very happy with the result. You know. No, anytime, man. You know, subscribe to my channel if you like. I appreciate everybody who subscribes, and I usually stream most nights. I try to. You know, and there's usually a few people in here with me. Tonight's just a dry night. I don't know why there's not a couple more people, but you know, they show up. You know, and if you watch my channel, there's a wow. I couldn't believe it the other day. I've got some like 50 videos up, Jeff. It's close to 50 videos. I'm like, holy jeez. I'm definitely bored. You know, to the point I have lightning shooting out of my eyes and setting a bucket on fire because my skimmer pump failed. I thought, I was like, why did I do that? Because I could. Yeah, I was really floored. Hold on, let's find out for sure. How many videos does Craig, aka Reefer Madness, have up on his site now? Let's see here. YouTube. And let's go to my channel. And videos. Two, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there's 50 videos up there now, over 50. And the first one starting back 2 years ago when I just really tiptoed in, was just kind of getting settled in the hobby. Okay, will it harm my fish because I lost all my CUC and a RAS? Will it harm the water changes? Are you asking if water changes will harm your fish? I guess to clarify your question. And thanks for subbing. Appreciate it. Always do. CUC cleanup crew. Okay, so you had a bunch of cleanup crew die. And a RAS. So I'll make a recommendation here, and maybe Jeff, aka our American Reefing there. High nitrates generally do not, but your cleanup crew and your inverts in general are usually your first to die when things are going wrong. But that's not necessarily an indicator that things are seriously wrong. It just means there was definitely a low level something that they just couldn't deal with. But yeah, if you get up tomorrow and you do, okay, so you got a 55-gallon tank, you probably have something akin to 40 to 50 pounds of rock in it, I'm assuming, which means you're probably sitting around 40 gallons of water. Technically, what I could say to you safely, and I'd feel pretty confident in this, do a 20-gallon water change if you can do 20. That would almost be 50%, which means you now have 50% diluting what's left. Okay, and you know the basic idea there is then you could probably cut back to about 15 for the next one, and then 15 for the next one, and space that out because you don't want to change things too rapidly. But again, we're not changing anything that isn't already gone wrong. We're getting that out of the tank, right? remember what it is. If something's bad for your fish and you're taking it out, how can putting fresh water that has nothing bad in it be bad for your fish? That's just the logic I have on it, right? Your fish you'll stress it okay, but there's a good chance if it was a wrasse and you stirred up the sand, there could have been something in the sand, hydrogen sulfide. There's a bunch of stuff that can live in there. And he just accidentally swam into it and it killed him. There's a possibility there. Did you find him or is he just missing? I guess I should ask that too. And I'm going to go get my coffee that's now brewed, and I'll be right back. Take me about a minute. There we go. So you swapped out the tank. Okay, so that comes back to my other thing I was saying, Paul. Did you swap out the media in the back? You know, did you rinse your Marine Pure? Did you clean that area up? Yeah, and Salifert. I use Salifert and Red Sea. I use the Red Sea Reef Foundation Kit, which is your magnesium alkalinity and magnesium. I had to think about that for a sec. And I use Salifert for the nitrates, ammonia, and I have a pH probe now. That's a little odd that your water would still test saying the nitrates were that high. You could get some Purigen from Seachem and stick a big bag of that in the back, and that'll help soak up some of it. It will waste it. If your nitrates are that high, you're never going to get those back out of that because you can recharge that media. But you know what? For $20, it's kind of worth it if it's going to be just one more kind of very soft change that will help pull that out. But for your nitrate, yeah, I think your test kit's faulty, buddy. That just feels very odd that, how long did you let the tank run after the water change before you tested? Or did you put all that water in and test it? Because if you did that, make your water and test that fresh salt water before you put it in the tank. I actually just had to tell someone she gets her salt water from her fish store, and they get it from the ocean. And I said to her, you might want to test that water and see what the levels are at for everything, because that could be where the nitrates she's got are coming from. And they're spot on. They're showing you. Yeah, that seems really suspect that your nitrates would be that high after a water change, my friend. In fact, I call shenanigans on that one. Got a question for you. I know it's insane at this time of night, but do you have fresh salt water mixed already, like sitting there ready to go kind of deal, by chance? Yeah, Jeff, I'm sitting here wondering. I'm kind of hoping he's got fresh salt water mix, because it's like, go test your nitrates for us right now in the fresh salt water that's not in the tank. Let's see if that API kit says 0, because it should say almost 0. If you have some right now, Paul, please go test it and then tell us what your nitrates are at in fresh salt water that's not in your tank. Yeah, I'm wondering that too. Why do I have no one from the UK? Maybe nobody in the UK likes me. That jerk with the nice voice. Screw that guy. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really, 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 really interested to know what that fresh salt water says the nitrates are with that API kit. Oh, well, that's cool. So I'm guessing you've checked out Reef Community Worldwide and Paul and the boys. Yeah. Oh, I get along with all those guys. I love Aaron's Aquarium and um, Aquarium Cabinet Solutions. Who's the other one? I'm trying to think of his name. Of course, Paul with Reef Community Worldwide, and there was another one, Mix Reef or something like that, or MS Reef. Those guys are right on. They know their crap. Oh, API strikes again in my world. I had somebody call me up saying they still had ammonia in their tank and it's been running for 2 years. And I said, "You got an API test kit, don't you?" I said, "Does it say it's got like 0.25? Yeah, that's 0 for ammonia. Yeah. No kidding. I literally wish I was making videos and I could have shown it. But it's everywhere online if you go look it up. Oh, is he the one who made your intro for you? Sweet. Yeah. That's all right. If you watch my channels, you ever wonder where that music comes from at the beginning? I cheated. Yeah. But if you go back, Jeff, into my videos, there's one, a tank tour of my Fluval tanks, I think it is. And that music is me. That's me playing, and the guitar, drums, bass, singing. Well, it's not much singing. I just do a big yell. But yeah. Need like 2 more guys in here. Yeah, you can. Maybe we were waiting on Paul doing a test there. That would be. I really, really hope he does that, because that would really, really. Yeah, it's called Tank Tour of My Fluval Reef Tanks. Wow, what a great title, Craig. Yeah, I saw that too. It's all right. Like I said, I may not be for everybody. Or maybe it's sex chat. I think it's some weird sex chat. I don't know. That's another thing. You come into my stream and you get a little too uppity with the women and a little too pervy. I don't think I'm going to stand for that for very long. I don't even care if it's, oh, I'm just kidding. No, you're not kidding. You wouldn't have said it if you had some meaning to it. I have many friends like that you can just look at them and say, you need to stop that right now. There's places on the dark web for you, buddy. Go on. I'm wondering if... Might catch a few of the subs from overseas. We got Paul, so there might be a few others that come on. They'll be all chip and spry, and I'll be all like, God, I'm tired. Oh, she'll love that, man. Trust me, she's extremely appreciative. I got Reef Supplies to donate all her test kits. So she's going to save about $250, $300 in Canada there. Because when you put, the ammonia, nitrite, that Red Sea kit up here in Canada is about $7. Let's find out. I forgot how much Ray's charging for those. Reef Supplies. I wonder what he's charging for a foundation kit. Let's see. Red Sea Pro. Well, if he sends her just the Pro kit or the Marine Care kit, that's $60 alone. And if he sends her a Reef Foundation kit, which is the calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium, that's $56. So if he sends her those two kits alone, it's $100-something. Oh, even better. Yeah, I guess her tank fell through the 60, so she's doing. Oh wow, I totally missed on. She's got a tank there that she's doing, so that'll work out really fine for her. Yeah, I told her the big part's going to be the lights. I was holding out hope that Ray might donate a light, but I'm not going to fault that guy for not wanting to send a $300, $400 light, because he doesn't actually have the cheapest thing he would have would be like an AI Prime, and he's selling them for $249. He's selling them at a really good price up here. So, oh, that's good coffee. No, she'll get a tank. Tank's not hard. I even told her, if worse comes to worse, go buy that brand new 40-gallon breeder. You'll be happier anyway because it's new glass. You're the one looking after it. But that first scratch is going to make you cry. That's the way it works. I was thinking about seeing if Paul wants to donate to her, because I don't think he was around when that was going on. But I'll see if I can get private chat him. See if we can get her just enough to get her really, really well ingratiated into the tree. We'll bring her in. One of us. Yeah. I'll start my own cult. The nighttime is the right time. The nighttime is the right time. Yeah. The only problem with late night is our tanks are off. There's no lights. Can't see shit. You can go look for critters, but overall, it's nothing to see. Oh man, my bloody allergies. Yeah, something definitely going on in the house tonight. Yeah, did you hear about Pat Murphy's Reefing there? What the problem in his tank was? Uh, he had a couch in his fish room. Yeah. Yeah, so that would be the assumption, Paul. Is that test kit is it's crap. Get a Salifert nitrate, and use that. Right, it's still probably going to become like high, right? But wow, you lost $1,000 in ACANs. Man, I don't feel so bad. I lost about $3,000 in coral in the last year. I've probably lost 1,000 a year in corals. I stopped buying coral at this point. I'm just waiting for the tanks to kind of level off. So yeah, but Murph's problem was black mold on his walls in his fish room. He actually found it, and I told him, I said, well, as long as you Javex and wear a mask while you're cleaning it up, and then keep an eye on it and see if it's growing back. But get that couch out of there because that's probably just loaded with it. So he did. Yeah, it's hard to believe that somebody in your house has strep throat that can affect your fish tanks. Oh. No, I even told him, I said, it's not even that it's not good for your tanks, it's bad for you. Especially if you're the one hanging out in the room all the time. Black mold leads to some serious, serious health issues, man. Well, that's good, Paul. At least we maybe figured out that, guess what? Your tank's probably not in as bad a shape as you think. Um, that would be my thumbs up and hope that, you know what, you can just probably get your fish back in there and get everything running again. And, test it. I tell people all the time, test your fresh salt water at least once in a while to see if there's anything going on with your salt mix. Yeah. So. And if you're running an RODI unit, then I'd say you're okay. But check that too. But if you're doing tap water, Paul, that can be where it's coming from too. But forgot we totally didn't ask that question. Yeah, that would be the other variable here. Yeah, so if you're or are you buying your water from the local fish store, blah blah blah. But where's the water, your fresh RODI or your fresh water coming from? From the local fish store. Okay. Yeah, so ask them if they've recently changed their resins and all their stuff, because let them know, show them, right, that you're having high nitrates and you tested your fresh salt mix, so you're going to try a new kit, but that may trigger them to check, because I know I have seen local fish stores that ignore their RODI units until it's like, oh wow, when did that DI resin run out, or when's the last time they changed their RO membrane. Those things don't last forever. I'm on almost 2 years with my RO membrane, and I'm probably guessing it's getting close to time to change that. Um, it's just time. I can't wait to hear that noise when I swap that out. There's a bucket load of air going to make that thing vibrate like a nut. Yeah, you can even have them check it. Yeah, and bring them in a cup of. I use a little plastic shot glasses from the dollar store that have a little lid, and I have brought it in, but turns out I'm the big kahuna in this city for some reason. It's too bad you couldn't sit there and say, "Hey, I'm live streaming" more than once. Kind of be a smart idea of YouTube. Hmm. Yeah. There we go. So anyway, sorry I was doing something right quick there, but well, it's good, Paul. I feel good for you. That's should be a little more reassuring for you. Yeah. Bad test kits, man, bane of our existence. Always check when you grab your kit from the local fish store. If it's a salifert, there should be a sticker on it. It should tell you its expiry date. So, like something like 2020 or whatever. Yeah. I love Happy Gilmore too. It's been a while since I watched it, but there's a lot of nice, goofy moments. Yeah. I watch a lot of Archer. Yeah. A lot of Archer. I love that stupid cartoon. That and Big Mouth on Netflix now. Always been an animation fan, really. I just watched Big Trouble in Little China again for the first time in quite a few years, and I love that film. I love like cult little films like that. No, anytime, Paul. Yeah, you can still hang out here. But I'm guessing. Well, Sunday in Britain, I don't know if everything's open or not. UK, I should say. You may be actually in Ireland for all we know. But yeah, if it's open, get there. Go. I wish I had a fish store closed. Wish I had money. That would be nice. If I had money, I'd be going there probably. Say no, I'm not going to buy any more coral. I'll come home with a new mint octo spawn or something. Oh, my cat's destroying my house again. Dick. The joys of having a cat. I can always tell when he's been on top of my big tank because he moves the lights because he paws the lights. So I double check the hanging kit all the time to make sure it's not giving way. Yeah, I know he was standing on it one night. Yeah, and that's a whole other debate. Um, you know, I'm not gonna. Oh, I'm gonna public. I'm an atheist, so 2 days off in a row. I believe in 2 days off, but the other part I don't. But I get it. That's what people want, and then go ahead. But yeah, just over an hour to go. Oh, we can waste an hour. Trust me. Lots of things you can shoot the shit about in an hour. Come on, UK. There's got to be a couple more of you, wankers that are going to get on. What is it they like to joke about AR? The bell end? No, the other thing I was discussing. No, and that's what, and that's where I understand, Paul, that the religious community as general, they're freaking out, and it's like, well, you know what? We've gone through all these transitions as a race, and I'm talking humans in general. Um, we're going through some weird times again now. So, reefing with O, yeah, yeah. Is he? He's in New Jersey, isn't he, or something like that, or Maryland or something? I thought he's a Yank, right? And I get to say that because I'm Canadian, so I'm basically just a Brit that moved. Oh my God, you joined the military here. We still swear an oath to the Queen. Hey, what's up, Jinx? You be good to him. Sorry, guys. So my cats play, and my two males are pretty rough with each other. And my young male, who's bigger, actually has a chunk out of his face. I got to keep an eye on. Yeah, I like O. Yeah, good information. You know, pretty dedicated reefer. Yeah, I think everyone's nagging him with the bell end thing now. Nope. You guys hear me taking pills? Go. The one thing diabetes did do me, besides change my habits for eating, is it took my teeth. God bless it. Although I told a friend of mine, you know what's great? I've always had horrible teeth as far as I'm concerned. Not quite British levels of horrible teeth. No offense, Paul. But um, when I get my plates made, I can have Hollywood white, beautiful teeth. And no one's going to know unless I take them out in front of you. So that'll be funny trying to learn how to talk again with plates in. Oh, yes. I actually recall that, AR. Jeff, I recall that conversation, actually, one night there. Yeah. Dave's in New Jersey, too, isn't he? Dave's Nanotanks. As I recall, and there's another couple of yous there. That's really curious. Well, you know what? I mean, it is 5 in the morning where I am. Actually, it's almost 6 now. Yeah. And that means it's almost 5 where you are, Jeff. Should I be reminding a guy who's hanging out in my chat that he should go to bed? Yeah, you know what? I'm a responsible fella. Dave's about an hour from me, eh? I like Dave. I like Dave a lot. I like his tanks. Everything looks good. I think everybody went to bed on Rico's stream. I think it dropped there. Well, you know, that's just it, right? I know the other day the reefing community worldwide, their stream ran like from 4 in the morning my time to like, oh, it was insane. It was like, oh, noon. It was like a full 8 hour, and then they started it up again. So, I mean, I'll get tired at some point, but I'll probably sleep for another 3-4 hours and then get up for the day. You may have woken him up last night. Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's a good chance. If you called him at like 10 o'clock at night or something, it would have only been 2 in the morning. Dads put up with that stuff, though. Some do. I come from a broken home. Sniff. Twice broken, I might add. My mother can't stay married to anybody, man. But the man she's been with now, she's been with since '91. So, and I said, don't marry him. You'll just screw it up. Yeah, Paris would still be 4 hours. Yeah, France, unless you start heading towards Germany, you cross 2 time zones heading towards Germany from Paris. So, I lived in Lahr, Germany for a good part of the mid '80s, and we were 6 hours ahead of where I am now. And my grandmother could never get it right when she was trying to call. So she'd call it like 6 and wonder why it was midnight where we were. Yeah. Memories. My grandmother just passed away like 4 weeks, I guess 5 weeks ago now. And I'm like, yeah, you know, she was always there. My grandfather passed away in 2002, and I've got all his military stuff on the walls. I should probably put that in a video sometime because I mean, that's kind of water reef related. He's a big Navy man. He was telling me stories about watching great white sharks when they would empty the bilge tanks back in the day, and the sharks would be right there just gobbling up all the crap coming out of the ship. Yeah, that'd be rough. Was he in sales, Jeff? Something like that? Yeah. Look at that. The insanity of being up at 6 a.m. in the morning. Although for me, it's perfectly sane. I just normally watch stuff. I guess in this case, I'm just sitting here streaming, shooting the breeze with you fine gentlemen, and smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee. Oh, what? Nothing different from any other day. Yeah. Gets my view time up, though. I will say that. My view time's jumped up by like 3,000 minutes in the last month. So I was like, all right, well, that's working anyway. Oh, he works for Johnson and Johnson. That's a big conglomerate company, so I can see that. Yeah. How young are your kids, Paul? They're still waking you up that early. Mine hasn't gotten up that early. Well, I won't even go there. Mine's 19 now and discovered weed. So, okay. You're a little late bloomer there, buddy, but all right. And get your ass to university and get an education so I can get you out of my house and not have to worry about you too much. My daughter from my first marriage, she's also 19, well, heading for 20, and she's off to university and doing her thing. And it's like, great, good. I don't have to worry about her either. 2, 5, and 8. Oh, that'd be too much noise. There'd be murder in my house. Although I'd probably be playing with them because, I'm just a big kid. Hell, if you come into my room and it's all toys. My office, a huge collector of World of Warcraft and, Space Invaders stuff. I got a Space Invaders piggy bank, of one of the aliens, and the kids always love to hear that thing going off. So, yeah, see if I can set it off without waking everybody up. My wife will be coming in. What the hell was that? Yeah. Actually, that is surprising, Jeff. You'd think they would have been up. At least the 3 month old. There's a bit of a gap there. Hey, 33-year-old kid. Yeah, it's like my mom. Yeah, I'm only 16 years younger than my mother. Yeah, that's the other thing. All the collectible stuff, eh? So, Paul, you're no spring chicken either. Then you got a 33-year-old kid. I'm going to guess you're heading somewhere for your 50s. I often wonder if I got any more kids. I played in a rock band, so for 30 years, there's a good chance there's another spawn of Satan out there. Yeah. Oh yeah, right. The new house, so you actually be able to put things out, and yeah, that's always nice, man. I mean, I personally traded up size when I moved. So my new apartment's about 1,200 square feet, just about. And it's so nice that yeah, I can have the tank in my dining room, and it doesn't really take up the space. Um, I would have preferred a 40 breeder. I tried. I so tried. But she wanted those clowns, and she knows from experience with me that we can put them in a 20, and they'll be comfortable in a 20. So I talked her at least into sumping it. She picked out that floating cabinet that's above my tank there with the light in it, and away we went. And yeah, I should have built a stand, and I may still have a custom stand built because, in all honesty, as long as the tank sits on top of the stand, I can redo everything pretty quick because I did everything out the back. So I may actually even have the stand built so I can actually have it go through the top of the stand in the back and just a little gap because my cats won't be able to get back there because of the piping. Um, and then that way they can't, I won't have any light showing up. So I may still do that. Actually, I think I want to do that. Don't tell my wife. Although I didn't spend a lot on the stand. I think I only spent, 80 to buy the metal stand. I reinforced it for like $10. And I had the leftover stuff to do the top. Or I should say, I guess, it'd be tops. What I did is I basically laid down laminate and then braced it in between the metal underneath so it slid into it. And it helped do it up too. A 40 breeder is 36 by 18 by 16. I could be wrong, but I thought or it could be 36 by 16 by 16, I think. But that's it. It's 36 inches across the front. Yeah, he'll be working his life away, eh? Yeah. Just a sec. I'll get a 40 breeders dimension right quick. That's too easy. 36, 36 by 18 by 16. I was right the first time. Yeah. So 36 inches across the front, 18 inches to the back, and 16 inches high. Some consider it the perfect, I guess, for lack of a better term, nano tank because it gives you enough room to work with, and it's easily drilled, and it's the dimensions are just kind of right on for display. I have a 40-gallon breeder for my sump, but my 120 is basically the same thing blown up, right? So a 120 is 48 by 24 by 24, so it's very close in dimensions. Yeah. More coffee. Stay-at-home dad. Good job. Take care of the kids, man. There you go. So I guess you're retired with a job. That'd be the way to put that. Yeah. Oh, I got so many plans for my tanks, but not big plans. You know, it's really funny. Were you and Jeff when we were talking about heaters the other night? I was extolling my thoughts on the Cobalt Neotherms. It is harder. That's why I have so much respect for the women that do it, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. There's always that one putz that's like, oh, you know, I'm a stay-at-home mom, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're supposed to do that, though. You know, like, that's your job. If you had kids, then you should have realized what you were getting yourself into. You know, you can be surprised, but don't be surprised for 10 years. Roll the stogie. Somebody asked me why I don't do drugs and stuff anymore, and I said I can't afford it. I have a reef tank. I had who was in with me today? Saltwater Jeff and that, and he was laughing. You know, they say you haven't lived until you did this, and I said, you know, when I was in the band, and I still joke about it now, and I said, you haven't lived until you snorted cocaine off a dead hooker's ass. Yeah. Because getting yourself into that situation tells you where you were. So, oop, oop. Ah, good old cup of Joe. And you know what's funny, Paul? I'll give you a good laugh. Coffee in North America versus coffee in Europe, so different. Well, it's time to get off then. Go ahead, man. I am not going to be mad at you, Jeff. It is the wee hours of the morning, so. Probably going to look up some F1 stuff and see what's going on in that world and getting excited. Season starts on the 25th of March, so. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I'll cut the stream. I'll make it easy for you, Jeff. Get yourself a good sleep, right? Get yourself all ready for that big move. I'll be talking with you, I'm sure. And I'll throw a stream up again today. I just love showing off my tanks anyway. So I'm going to see if I can get a different view in the tank today, because I do a really cool depth shot from the side, but I'm thinking I'd like to get one a little more from the front. It's just keeping the cats away from the camera. So yeah, have a good night, Jeff. And Paul, you have a good night too, sir. I'm going to cut the stream down, and I'll be back up later on today. I'll try to get on early enough so you can hop on. Maybe the kids will be all calmed down by then for you, huh? All right. Oh, somebody popped in, whoever you are. If you got a question, you got anything you'd like to ask? Or just to say hey? Yeah, please do, Paul. Yeah. Yeah, please do. Whatever information you get, let us know. All right, guys. Have a good night. I'm going to stop broadcasting. Take care.